That's nice to know. We are being recorded. Hi, everybody on ICA TV. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's either a Saturday or a Sunday at 8 o'clock here. And we have the pleasure of having Carolyn with us today. And she's going to tell us all about her business, but also a few secrets about what else she gets up to. A little bit of art, I've heard. Hi, Carolyn, my darling. Welcome to ICA TV.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. And the mission of ICA TV is to share about ladies and their businesses, and also to give a little bit of inspiration for everybody out there who's watching, is that we can do this business thing, even if we're on an up or a down, because life does throw stuff at us every now and then, and that inspiration to keep bloody well going, because we're worth it. I think we're on the same page there. So tell me the name of your business, sweetheart.
It's Restoring Self-Belief.
Okie dokie. And what is your mission with your business?
My mission is to encourage and inspire ladies plus 45 generally who've been through a tough time, whether that's through abuse or other kinds of life trauma of some kind.
Okay, so we're talking about, I'm going to put myself in that 45 bit. I quite like that bit. So I wish 45 and a bit area. So that's you're working with ladies and people who have gone through stuff and they've survived that stuff, but wish to be better. Yes.
Where they've come through, but they're still stuck with the baggage that they brought with them, a load of mindset or emotional baggage. So it's those sentences, the mind monkeys are still running right in their head. So every time they're looking in the mirror, they find it very difficult to say, I love you, because they're just hearing you fat bitch or whatever was said to them by their abusive partner. And that I've been through 2 abusive marriages myself. And I know it takes a heck of a lot to come out. And you kind of feel you're just going to snap back into who you are, but you don't. I only discovered mindset in particular and personal development in 2018. And I joined a network marketing company, and my friends just kept saying, it's all about mindset, it's all about mindset. And I thought, I don't know what this mindset thing is. So they gave me a couple of ideas of podcasts and books to read, and I haven't looked back. To begin with, it was just tackling the self-limiting beliefs, of which I had pages when I actually started to hear what I was thinking about myself, feeling about myself, how I valued or didn't value myself, how I was treating myself, how I was allowing others to treat me. And it didn't come all at once, but I began to realize, yes, I have a little bit of work to do here, I think. And started very, very small. Best way to start is simple and small, I think. And it was a case of just writing something on the mirror in the bathroom. And I couldn't write, I love you, Carolyn, because my brain just went, nope, not having that, not having that. So I wrote, I would like to love you, Carolyn. And I just moved on slowly. I am good enough. That's another very hard one for many of us to say. I am respected, very, very difficult one to say. I actually popped into a Tony Robbins pre-event, which was a couple of day event in Birmingham, thoroughly enjoyed it. And they asked us what we were doing, and I'd only just started Restoring Self-Belief at that time. And I don't quite know how it got to me coming onto the stage, because I was the only one that was called up onto the stage. And he said, I face the audience. So I did. And he said, I want you to say 3 things. And that was, I am loved. I am loved. I am accepted. I am enough. And I did it the first time very quietly. And he said, I looked at him and said, how did you know my life? Because it was like those 3 sentences encapsulated everything I've been through, really. And he said, "All right, I want you to," he just smiled and said, "I say it again." So I'm getting a bit braver now. So I said it a wee bit louder the second time. And then I said, "Can I add an extra one?" And he said, "Go on then." And I said, I am respected. And he said, "Who do you want to respect you?" And I said, "Well," and I realized what he was getting at. And I said, "I respect myself, and I would like others to respect me." He said, "You need to learn to respect yourself before others will respect you." And that was the beginning of what has become an amazing journey.
That's an amazing thing to kickstart it, isn't it?
It was, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's something you can look back on and always kind of replay in your head that I'm meant to be here. I'm meant to be doing this thing. Yeah.
And that's the anchor. We talk in the world of coaching, mentoring, whatever it, we like to term it, is actually it's an anchor. So that anchor is an anchor is something that you can go back to and hold on to.
Yeah.
And when we are doing our ups and downs and falling over and wishing that we could, or don't believe in ourselves, or whatever our mind monkey, our chitter chatter, or whatever it is going on, we can go, hang on a second.
Yeah.
How was I feeling at that moment? What was I doing at that moment? What was the change at that moment?
Yeah.
And that emotion, even the smell or the sound or the anything, will take you back to that amazing feeling. And that's, wow, you've got a golden key there, Sweet Pea.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic. And so talking about our mindset and our personal growth out there for the lovely ladies who are watching, if they're going through a need for something, what would you suggest that they do?
So I didn't quite hear what you said. If they're going through
something. If they're going through something, whether it's I don't believe in myself, or I feel rubbish. I nearly said shit then, actually. I might as well say it. If they feel shit, or they feel like they don't want anything.
They've taken the first step by realising that that's the case. I think self-awareness is the biggest first step that we can take. As once we realise that we are saying that stuff to ourselves, we then will begin to hear it more.
Yep.
I think it's valid. It's so fleeting. It's difficult to catch. It's like trying to catch a fish in a rock pool, and it sort of you just about got it, and it swims away, doesn't it? And my daughter would go, "Sucker," because she's autistic, and that's how she would say. But once you've caught those little thoughts that keep flitting into your head, then writing them down is a good idea. And then once you've got them on the paper there, you can face them and think, okay, how do I flip that over? How do I change that? What's the actual opposite of that? This will feel really strange to begin with, because you look at the opposite of that. So if it's I hate you, and then you think I love you, it's like, oh God, I can't deal with that. That's far too much the other way.
Biggie, isn't it?
So you might need to just write, I'm learning to, that I would like to, so that your brain will accept it. And then I've got mine, and my kitchen cupboards are behind me, as you can see. And if you open those kitchen cupboards, you will be surprised because there's lots of little cards inside. And these cards have got these phrases that I say to myself every day. And they are all these little mini phrases just saying, I am capable, I am loved and respected, I have lots to give to my clients. And it's just a whole list of what we call affirmations, positive sayings. But those didn't all come overnight. They just started off with 2 or 3, and then I just gradually built up. So it's just thinking of a couple of things you might like to
change.
And start making that change. And once you start to make that change, it takes a little while for it to have an effect. You just need to be consistent with it. I do it every time I'm boiling the kettle. I go and open that cupboard over there and I read them out. Just doing it on a regular basis. And then you begin to realise that those other negative things aren't coming into your head quite so much.
Yeah, and
once you've got that evidence, then you're happy to continue and do the next step.
Totally. And I don't even think the biggest change, I've been there, done it as well, fell over this personal development stuff that I had no idea what it was talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know how many years ago now, 10 or so, 12 or so, go through shit like we all do every now and then, ladies, you know, and I found it's not the actual thing of change, it's the thing of noticing it. You know, so it's that awareness of going, I am saying that. What effect of that is it? You know, even when you stub your toe, rather than going, God, that bloody hurt, it's, oh, you stupid whatever.
Yeah, mine was stupid girl. I kept saying, tech, I have struggled with, no, I'm fine tech, challenging, I'll change it. I used to say I struggle and I hate tech, but now I love tech because it does wonderful things, but I find it a challenge. And last year I was really struggling with it and I was at that point, I hadn't turned it around in the summer. And I kept going, stupid girl, stupid girl, stupid girl. And I thought, where's this stupid girl coming from? But I'd never really dug into it and thought, why am I calling myself that? And then I remember it was my dad. And that's what my dad would say. You know, if I made a mistake, he was very intolerant of me making any kind of mistake, whatever it might be. He was a brilliant mathematician and an accountant, and I still struggle with the numbers. I am learning to be better at numbers. I still can't really say I'm good at numbers, finances and numbers as well. So, but that's where this comes from. So now I say, you fabulous woman, you. I'm not a stupid girl. I'm a fabulous woman.
Fabulous woman.
It's up there. Fabulous woman, you. It's on a postcard.
Yeah. And I think it's a fab technique. So if you're out there, darlings, and you are struggling with, you know, being the person, and I'm going to read you a little thing, being the woman who, you know, to be the person that you want to be, you know, and we all see people that we aspire to, you know, whether it's a look or a confidence or an attitude, you know, and it's actually, we can all be that, not that person, but we can move into the person that we want to be.
Yeah, I'm just going to butt in there slightly, because when we say the person we want to be, you kind of feel that person's outside of us, but I feel it's becoming the people that we are. So it's becoming the woman who knows and loves herself, because I think that woman's in there. It's just we need to tap down and find her. She's been hidden, hasn't she?
The find.
Yeah, she's been slapped about, or she's been silenced, or she's been hidden by the things that have happened in her past. But she's actually there. It's just giving her permission to stand up and value herself and speak out and say, here's me. And we live in a society where well, maybe it's an age thing as well, because as a child, it was very much, I wasn't quite in the Victorian era, but it was still a case of, you know, you just sit there and look pretty and you don't say anything, you know, that kind of you know, it's not right to be brash and to stand up and speak out.
I'm going to say that as a woman, you know, you know, it wasn't all, you know, I think we're very, I'm guessing, similar agey.
I'm 62.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're look. Oh, I'm not being derogatory
it's amazing
or
what
anything.
The bottle does.
This is great. This is great, darling. This is great. Yeah, but we are similar age, darling. We're only 7 years apart, so we're in the same era, you know. And I think I probably touch this on every interview that we do. It's about how we were, I'm going to say growed, how we were growed up, you know, what environment that we were growing into, what happened in our school time, you know, what girls were expected to do at school and what boys were expected to do, and what roles that we were expected to, you know. I can go you know, when you go to the person, I'm going to say woman because mine was a woman, what are you going to do when you grow up? And I had a choice of nursing and something else. I can't remember what the other thing was. But I didn't want to be a nurse or whatever it was. I wanted to be a vet, and that's a different ball game.
Yeah,
you know. And you go, well, you can't be a vet. Why can't I be a vet? Because you're a girl. And that's the same sort of things that we were talking about, finding the things that we want to be. And that's their opinion, not my opinion.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm not a vet. It just didn't happen. Yeah. However, you know, that whole personal growth thing takes you into a different era, different way, you know. So yeah, I agree. Finding you, because you're already there. We're already there. I remember going through challenging times, not as challenging as some, but I got divorced and, you know, had little people with me and things like that. And people say, well, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? I said, I don't know what I want to do or where I'm going, but I know what I don't want.
Yeah.
Okay, because what I'm doing is what I don't want, and what I turn round is actually I'm going to create what I do want. And I would put that out there as everybody out there as well. If you know what you don't want, then there is an opposite to it. Yeah. But it might not be the big shiny thing. It's the step towards that big shiny thing. You know, but be powerful. Well done. I think it's fabulous. I also know, because we had a little chat, don't tell everybody, because we on ICA TV, we don't just don't get right, we're going, that's it, we're on. We do have a little chat beforehand, so we get to know each other, so we can share information with you. But what we were saying, actually, as a business, you support these amazing ladies who have gone through some sort of challenge in relation to personal growth or whatever people have gone through. But you do this by providing a program. And tell us a little bit about your program that people would, what would they get on it?
Okay, so the program has 4 modules at the moment, and it's in the process of being tweaked, so there may be another program coming out soon. And we start off with doing very much what I've been talking about, just looking about, see yourself special, I call it. Oh, so nice. It's looking to see what we're saying about ourselves and dealing with those mind monkeys and turning them about the other way. We also look at gratitude, because I think gratitude's a great thing. It's very hard to think negatively when we're being positive about what we're grateful for. So looking at gratitude, but also looking at our achievements, helping us to see what we've achieved in the past to give us that courage to move forwards. We look at what fear and doubt is actually, and I think of it as being an alarm system. When fear and doubt comes in, it's like a little red light going off in your car. And what do? If you ignore the little red light, then it gets louder and it blinks further, harder until you stop. And we just talk about how our brains work. And once we understand what our brains are actually doing, then when we can move forward on it and know how to deal with it better. And then we look at things, those wonderful things called comfort zones, and cultivating confidence and courage to jump out of them, or initially maybe just put a step out of them, really sort of what they are, why they're there, why from way back when we used to need to have that sense of staying safe, and our brain's basically just trying to keep us safe, and why those alarm systems go off as soon as we try and move out of our comfort zones, and then how we can move forward from that. And then we look at how they might like to move on at that point.
To create something that they want once you've done the foundation work.
Yes, it's doing that fine. It's first steps, very much. It's first steps to sort of being the people who are actually in there, and understanding this. I never understood that our brain is better than Google, and that you just have to type the word in, and bing, all of a sudden you've got every single time that you sort of said that word, or if you say apple, you will see apples everywhere. I'm doing a series at the moment in my group, which is a series of lives, and to help myself, really, I've done it alphabetical. And so I started with A, and I thought, what am I going to talk about for A? So I came up with a few words for A, but the overpowering word was apple. I thought, why am I thinking A is for apple, for goodness sake? In my day, we didn't have all this Apple tech stuff, so why apple? And the picture, the image that went with it is a frieze around my children's school and maybe my own, A is for apple. A is for apple. So I'm 62 and I'm still thinking A is for apple. And it was just explaining that subliminal way that our brain picks up a word or a sentence or a phrase, and we're suddenly bombarded with every time we've done that thing, we've seen that thing. If it's doing an experience, if it's stepping out of our comfort zone, it's like, oh, hang on, last time you stepped out, this happened, and the time before you stepped out, the other happened. And are you really sure you want to step out because, whoa, there's beasts
Don't know what's
out
going to
there,
do that.
you know? And yeah, but now I understand what's happening. It's, you've got a key. Ah, okay, brain, it's all right. I'm choosing to do this. I'm okay with this. You can stand down
And calm down a bit. Yeah.
I actually have to talk to myself in this silly little way to move forward, but it works. It's just reassuring and calming it down, and it's only trying to. It's doing it for my own best interests,
Yes.
but it doesn't always seem like that.
And I say, your comfort zone, your center and your comfort zone. Once you step out, that's where your magic happens.
Yes,
because that's that growth, that next bit, and also you don't have to jump off the cliff.
No,
you can step towards it, and then the horizon moves. Then you step towards it, and the horizon moves.
Yes,
and that's our risk profile. There are people that decide that jumping off the cliff-based jumpers, or jumping out of aeroplanes is a good idea, because their risk profile is high. They feel that they can do that. I'm not in that realm, ladies. I am not ever gonna jump out of an aeroplane unless it's going down and I have no choice, or jump off a bloody cliff. It's not on my list.
no,
but actually it's not but actually I would say I'm quite a risk taker, like all of us in running in business. We're all risk takers, but it's how big a risk we're going to do. So if we keep doing that little step and that little step and that little step, whether it's running a podcast or writing a book, which we'll talk about, or it's going on an interview that we've never done before. These are tiny little steps of out your comfort zone, and that gets you to the next step, because you don't know where this is going to go.
Yeah.
You don't know what decision you can make on the back of this.
Mm-hmm.
Or who's going to see you. How amazing is that? People are going to watch you go,
it's an opportunity, isn't it? You don't know what exciting things. Can I talk about the opportunity that I had at the beginning of the year?
Oh my goodness, go for it, my darling.
I'm a great thumber through my Facebook in the advert breaks, and I was scrolling through on my phone January this year, not feeling the brightest, but in the middle of this lockdown, and I'm living on my own, and I haven't seen my family for ages, and I'm feeling a little bit low. But I'm sort of coming through, and then I get to a poster that comes up, and it said something like, have you ever fancied writing a book, being on a podcast, and painting a painting? And I thought, I'd love to do all three of those. I've got no idea where to start with any of them. I'd love to do that. I didn't give it much thought. I tend to make my best decisions later in the evening, in a way, because I don't overthink them. I just say, I go with my gut, which I know that I'm learning. The more I do that, the better things tend to be.
Great.
So I went yes, and I filled in this tiny little form, basically name and email, and what life experience would I like to choose? That's the other thing you had to write. What kind of life experience would you like to choose as a chapter of your book? So I wrote that, and I sent it off, and I forgot all about it. And 2 or 3 weeks later, I had a phone call from a lady called Vinny. I didn't recognise who she was. I said, I'm Vinny, and I thought, who's Vinny? And she was the lady who was organising the course. The project was run by and funded by the Arts Council England. And she explained a little bit more about it. And she said it was an 8-week course, and we were actually writing just one chapter. We were doing one episode of the podcast and 3 paintings. So the paintings was past me, present me, future me. Also sounded rather exciting. There were 30 of us on it. She was telling me that I'd been successful in being chosen. And the funniest thing was, is I just went, right, as if nothing had happened. You know, it's like, okay, you've given me a pint of milk, right? Great.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. And she kind of stopped. And I guess she wasn't expecting that reaction. And she told me a little bit more about it. And then she was talking about what we would do. And then we were in 3 groups of 10. And we had a Zoom meeting each week. She was just chatting away, telling me about it. And it was beginning to percolate. She just told me I've been successful this thing and I'm going to do this. And as she was going along, my animation level went up, you know. So by the time I came off the call, it was, hey, I'm going to do this, you know. And so the chapter of the book, we had an author to help us to write that. I chose my abuse journey, and it was really powerful writing that chapter, getting stuff out on paper. I dealt with lots of the bits and pieces and the emotional stuff with that as I've gone through the years, but there were some shreds of shame. And I tend to think of shame as this sort of black sticky stuff that holds on to you and you think you've got rid of it, but there's still a bit stuck in your hair or whatever. And then by writing that chapter, which is going to go into a book in August, September, there's going to be these 30 chapters, all very different, but all overcoming kind of stories. So that shame kind of disappeared. The similar thing for the podcast, I did the same chapter for the podcast so I read a bit of the book and then I talked about it. I read a bit of the book and I talked about it. That's already gone live, went live in April. And then the painting, I've had the most fun with the painting because I had permission for the first time in my life to not actually have to paint in the lines or paint in a specific way. So the past one was quite graphic. It was a case, at one stage I had a knife to my neck and it literally did show that. And it was in a style, Picasso kind of style. So there are two faces. There's a very shocked face and then there's a depression face that was the result of what had happened. So that took quite a lot of skill to do. We had to do that first and a lot of tears came out for that one. Then the me now, with so much more energy and moving forwards, I decided to choose abstract expressionism. Always find that hard to say.
I would too.
And she said basically just chuck paint, but get the idea of the colours of feelings that you want. So I sort of wrote down feelings, sort of gave them rough ideas of colours, and it was mainly greens and oranges, yellows, there's some white in there, some red in there, and I kind of just chucked it on the canvas. And then she said, walk away. So I did. And then she said, go back to it. She said, and I'll throw some more stuff on the canvas. So I did. And then she said, right, you can try some of these wonderful techniques. And I discovered that if you use the end of a paper clip, so you've got a nice sharp end of your paper clip when you pulled it apart, and then I just I scratched and scratched and scratched and made lots of wonderful markings on this painting. And I still didn't have a picture in my head of what I was doing. I was just being abstract and just enjoying the process, totally immersed in what I was up to. And then she said, well, turn it round and see what side looks to be, you know, which way up you want it to be. And I discovered that I got this red sort of a blob at the top and then a curve going around and then like a ball shape here. And it looks like a side view of a very stylized, is that the way, where you've literally just got a circle and down of a person with like an arm holding a ball of energy. And that's exactly what I was feeling, a ball of energy. So that was brilliant. And then the best one is actually I've used it for my profile on my personal Facebook page. And that was even more sort of out there. I was using the technique of chucking paint that you did as a kid. You know, offers
so much.
Yes, so flipping it. I now have, because I didn't realise at the time, and I wasn't looking ahead, so I have orange, white, blue, and yellow dots on my purple curtains, which are behind. These are very old curtains, so in my back room, and I love it. Flip, and it just came again. It was several times, 2 or 3 times, turning it round, doing it again. and I love what came out. And I've had some wonderful responses from that. Do you remember the programme that was on recently? Grayson Perry. He did an art programme recently, and you could send in what you've done, or you could put it on a Facebook group. And it was an amazing group, and everybody was really lovely on there. And I've put it on several places, and people have said how much they like it. And
Fabulous.
it's like, wow, you know, it was a bit Jackson Pollock. But it was such good fun, guys. If you could, and getting the emotions out by painting. So this is something in the future. I mean, I'm no art therapist, but I know if you can get those emotions out there. And this was looking at future me. So it's all good, girls. It's all good.
All good.
So I'm hoping to sort of incorporate that writing maybe, and certainly the painting into the Restoring Self-Belief. I'd like to do a little mini course or a workshop or something, enabling people to have a go with that themselves, because it's very powerful.
It's just release, isn't it?
It is.
I think it's a fabulous
And there's
thing.
nobody telling you that you've got it wrong. There's nobody saying that piece of blue should be over there, you know, or you shouldn't be using a paperclip. In fact, everybody was celebrating what you were doing, because it was done within the context of a supportive WhatsApp group. And
it's all cool fun. I think that is just an amazing place to leave that energy, my sweet, because we're giving people are watching, you know, bloody go for it. You know, whether you
I'm writing a book as well, by the way. My first full book. Just what I say.
Just to add that on, you know, just something
It's
general.
not the abuse journey, it's a different one. It's to do with things like rape and abortion, and also adoption, because I'm adopted. So it's looking at all that side of things.
Wow.
I'm at chapter 5. It's where the action happens.
I just think it's amazing, you know. And I think if anybody's out there, this comfort zone, isn't it? Anybody who is actually having any sort of, you know, don't, you know, worry, you know, tiny steps, take opportunities, yeah, mull them over. I like a little mull. Don't know about you, but a little mull. Go with your gut. Have a little bit of a you know.
And I wasn't here a few years ago. I'm a completely different me. So looking at me now, thinking, gosh, how, you know, I'm not in that place at all. I wasn't in this place at all. 2013 was the end of the abuse side of things, and it took me a lot of years to sort of get through that initial bit, then discover the mindset, personal development, and then put it into action, and then decide I wanted to pass that on to other people. And you know, there's been lots and lots of bridges and lots of steps. But I've got a lovely Facebook group if anybody would like to.
Absolutely. Send me the link. So at the end of this, ladies, the actual ICA TV, I will add any links, any groups, anything that you want me to put on there, so people can find you if you wish to have obviously an interview. But really your story is abuse to, I'm going to say, survival
and beyond.
And beyond.
I think it from broken to whole and beyond is the tagline for my group. Yes.
I'm going to write that down. Broken, survival, and beyond.
Broken to whole.
It is absolutely amazing, you know, and we all can all do that. If anybody is struggling, if anybody is out there that needs somebody or something, click on Carolyn's group, have a chat. You know, we do not have to do this on our own.
Yeah, it's a small personal group. There's only about 75, 76 of us in there at the minute, and it's very friendly, it's very kind, very safe space.
Absolutely. So if you are going through anything, guys, you know, do not sit and mull on your own. Sit and mull with somebody else. You know, sit and chat, and get it out there, because the bigger the demon is, because it's in there. You're thinking and you're going over it, and that makes it grow. Once you start verbalizing it and getting it out there, nothing else can hurt you. So do, guys, you know, contact, whether it's Carolyn or somebody else, you know. Do not sit on that sofa on your Todd, you know, get out chatting, my darlings. And we're lucky to have this internet thing and we
Yes.
can talk to anybody and everybody. Just keep safe. That's what we're saying. So I'm going to say thank you, Carolyn, so much for today. It's been amazing. Really, really cool.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you. Lovely getting to know. And it is like a bit of a chat across the kitchen table. So if anybody
I'm in my kitchen.
on my hallway, it's very, very, very sexy here. If anybody out there in ICA TV land who's watching this amazing interview with Carolyn, please give us a shout if you wish to join in. You know, all you have to do is say yes in the thread, or contact me personally. My name is Lawrie-Ashton. The business is I Can Achieve. So we are all over Facebook. So please give us a shout if you wish to play. So thank you again, my darling. Really, really lovely to have you with us today. And good luck with everything.
Thank you. I'll let you know would you like a signed copy of my book?
Oh.
And I will invite you to my book launch. We're hoping to do a virtual one as well. So
perfect.
There we go. I put it out there. I'm doing this thing.
It's gonna happen. We're gonna get this book out. Yes,
happen.
please, my sweet. And cool. On that, we'll say goodbye and thank you everybody for watching. And we'll see you again on ICA TV. Take care, everyone. Bye.